So we're finishing up the Maimer on the Dodi V'Dodi Li in Lakutei Torah, the first of the series we're going to do on this Maimer, and we're just in the end here, and we're speaking about when a person's kale, when their godly spark, basically Chas v'Shalom, can get lost, and how to retrieve it. And at the end, we brought a pasuk from Shir HaShirim. B'shvakim rechovos avakshes sha'av v'nafshi. We said if you're going to go into the shukim, the marketplaces and the streets, and seek that which my soul, he who my soul has loved. And we said that it says soul has loved in the past tense. My soul already loved, because it's talking about that aspect of the godly soul, which is Tahorahi, which came from Atzilus, where it was like already enraptured with God. And it's in love with God already, it's just that it lost itself. So how are you going to find it? So he says you have to go out to the places where it was lost, as we said before, into the marketplaces. It's not in the base medrash. It's the idea that it was lost. It was where it got trapped by the klippas. And you have to look for it in the places where it was lost. But then we said at the end, and we got kind of off on a tangent, that even if you find it, you won't be able to hold it unless you have the proper kalim for it. And then we got into a whole song and dance, basically. It was a good song and dance.
Hold what? The love?
Hold the love. In other words, even if you find it, right, if you get inspired, and even if all of a sudden it comes to you, this love, and it doesn't help you very much unless you're able to hold on to it. Otherwise it'll be fleeting again. You had it before. What makes this connection to Hashem stay put, that you can sort of be stable with your love of God, and so you don't keep tripping up and like losing it and falling back into the shuk in the marketplace. So you need kalim. You need a place, a way to hold it. Because it's known that the lack of the vessels creates the absence of the light. And this is what we said in our tangent last time. What are the light want with the vessels anyway? Why is it the vessels which have the power to sort of summon the light and keep the light in place? Seemingly the vessels are lower. So last class, you can look back in the records, we spoke about how the source of the vessels is really much higher. It comes from the essence of God. We spoke about the fact that the vessels are non-revelatory, right? So even though that's in a place where revelation sort of rules the day, that if we don't see revelation, we don't see godliness. So then the absence of revelation looks like it's lower than revelation.
That's what makes it light.
But in its source, God is beyond revelation, and so therefore these vessels, which are non-revelatory, are actually an aspect of the essence, something which is higher than the light and the revelation. And therefore the light seeks to find the vessels, because it knows better than we do that inside of those vessels is basically rooted the essence of God. So therefore the vessels are the only thing that have the ability to hold the light in place. And we said that even though everything in creation wants to go up, right? Mailim b'kodesh, there's nothing that's built into the nature of everything to want to go up. So again, why do the vessels come down and stick onto why do the lights, come down and stick onto the vessels? Because that is going up for them. That's their way to basically attach themselves to the essence of Hashem, which is found inside of the vessels. Although it's found in a way where it's not revealed, but that's what the light is. That's what the light does to it. The light reveals that the source of the vessels is godliness. So they work well together, essentially. Yeah.
Why is the nature of the light, is revelation? Isn't the nature of revelation to be removed from the source?
Yeah, that's why its basic nature is that it's come off of the source and it's shining.
Now it's going to the Kalim, it's seeking the source.
No, it wants the source. The light is in devekis to the source, right? But Hashem wants there to be light. So in other words, he pushes off this revelation to shine from him. The revelation itself is, since it's so to speak, enlightened, right? It wants to cling to Hashem. It's desperately trying to return to nothingness. It doesn't want to be.
It begins their nature to be revealed.
Right, because revelation is showing you that all there is God. So the very revelation itself wants to be back inside of the. However, by divine command, they're not allowed to be inside, right? They've been pushed out and shown. Hashem's revealing himself. So they're looking around, how can I be one with God? The doors are closed going back inside of the essence, so they seek the vessels which are there, where the essence is also found. And this is basically What it means, one must find vessels to hold the light. We're going to start with, on Os Gimel, about 10 lines down, there's a period in the middle of the page. It says, Af Gam, even, Im Matzas Aveda, even if you find the lost object, Hine Lo Yiskayim Bo, Or Hashem. It won't stay in you, this light of Hashem, Bilti Kelim, unless you have the vessels. Because this, without vessels, is what causes the light to go away, as is known, as we've explained. Here we're going on. There's Sfarim, you know? There should be Sfarim, yeah. V'lechein ha'etza la'asos kelim l'or havaya. How do you make vessels for the light of Hashem? Hem osios ha'torah. That represents the letters of Torah. In other words, basically that's what the Torah and the mitzvahs are, right? They're vessels which hold on to the light of God. Because it says in the pasuk from Shir Hashirim, until he's going to seek the one that his soul loved, until he finds the one that his soul loved, this like missing piece of God, and he's going to hold on to him. He's not going to let him go until he brings him to the house of his mother, into the room of his parents. What does it mean he's going to bring this love that he found into the house of his mother? Beis imi, the house of the mother, is the Torah Shebeksav. Right? The written Torah. And the room of the parents is Torah Shebal Peh. So in other words, you're going to find this love. What are you going to do with it? You get all inspired. You found your godly soul. What are you going to do with it? The only way to keep it is to put it inside of the Torah. In other words, to learn. Right? To put your head in a place where the light won't go away. Because if you all of a sudden get inspired and then you go back into the streets, the inspiration will disappear and you'll all of a sudden be lost again. You'll be sham. You'll be far away. But if you get inspired and you want to be continuing your inspiration, the only thing you can do is go to a place where that inspiration can like hold on to something, and that is the Torah Shebeksav and the Torah Shebal Peh, because they are vessels which hold the light. The light of inspiration of God seeks out those things, those vessels, because it's actually the source of the letters of the Torah is even higher than the light in the Torah, for the reasons that we just said, and therefore it doesn't want to go away. If you plug it into the Torah, the letters of Torah, it will just stay burning in you all the time, and you'll continuously be inspired. That's why you have to constantly continue to learn all the time. Never leave the base medrash, basically, unless you're doing mitzvahs, which brings you out of the base medrash, then you still find it out there. Yeah.
So you're saying the Torah holds this light, but doesn't everything in this world hold the light?
Absolutely not. Everything in this world is the light of God in a concealed state. In other words, it's the light of God that's gone through a tremendous tzimtzum, so that it looks like something other than God. That's what it means, sham. That's what it means that the klippas, right? Yes, it's godliness, but it's godliness which is not revealed. So it's the revealed godliness is hidden inside of that place. How do you bring it out and make it revealed? This is the special instruments that Hashem put into this world, which are those particular vessels which can hold the revelation of God. Everything else, worldly things, can't hold this revelation. It hides the revelation. We didn't do that yet. Okay. Kamosh B'suv Ki Havaya. That's right. Ki Havaya Elokecha Eish Ochla Hu He. So it says that your God is a consuming fire. Meaning, just like it's impossible for a fire to maintain a connection to this world without a wick, bleep sila, without a wick, or something that it's holding on to. You can't just have fire without the fire being held down. Kach, so too the pasuk says, Achastiv v'lo arpenu. It says, I will hold him and I won't let him go. Ad she'avesiv, until I bring him to the house of my mother. You have to hold this godly revelation down onto something, otherwise it will just go away. There's no such thing as God is called a consuming fire. If you want this godliness, you can't have it unless it's held down by a wick, by something which maintains it in this world, which is these vessels. Just referencing as it says in the pasuk Haroeh b'Shoshanim. Right? Our whole mimer is based, it's called Ani l'dodi v'dodi li. I am to my beloved is to me. Haroeh b'Shoshanim. The rest of that pasuk says who pastures amongst the roses, right? The Zohar says the word rose, first of all, the whole notion of the word rose is that why Ani Ladodi Vadodi Li is Rosh Tevos Elul, right? That spells Elul, the first letter of every word. But from where do we get the notion that Elul has this concept of the 13 attributes of mercy, shining? From the second half of the pasuk, Haroeh B'Shoshanim means who pastures amongst the roses. That's where you find your beloved. A rose has 13 petals, right? So the idea is that in the verse which talks about Elul, right away it says the notion of a rose, telling you that Elul is connected with the 13 attributes of mercy. And the Zohar goes a step further and says how the 13 attributes of mercy is like this light, we said, beginning with Kale, of your godly soul, the revelation of God. The Zohar goes on and tells you how you hold it. It says, don't read the word Shoshanim, Ela Sheshonem. Halachos, but like Lashon Mishnah, to teach, to learn Torah, Mishnah Torah, right? The word Shoshana is the same word as to learn Torah. So if you want to hold on to these 13 attributes of mercy and like this revelation of God to be revealed, you need a vessel which is the Torah. And therefore it also says Haroeh b'Shoshanim. Haroeh is a shepherd. Right? And shepherd represents the Jewish people are called a shepherd. Yisrael mefarnesin la'avin shebeshamayim, which means we, just like a shepherd, feeds the flock. The shepherd is the giver, right? The shepherd is the mashpia. So why are we ani ladodi v'dodi li? I'm to my beloved, and we're called the shepherd, so to speak, of God, which means we are, so to speak, giving food to our Father in heaven. We're feeding Him. We're the mashpia, so to speak. What does it mean?
He was our shepherd.
Obviously, He's our shepherd, but in this particular case, we're saying that we're called the shepherd. And as mefarnesin la'avim shebeshamayim, we are giving food and parnasa, so to speak, to our Father in heaven. It's a strange concept, but it's an often repeated concept. Why? Because by us learning Torah, which is the will of God, that like basically our spirit which calls out to Him calls upon His spirit and draws it down into this world. In order to create the fact that His will be indwelling in this world and reveal the innermost will of God in this world. If we don't learn Torah, if we don't do mitzvahs, then the will of Hashem does not have a holding down here. Hashem's ultimate will is that a Jew should learn Torah and do mitzvahs. So He creates the whole world, right? And then He creates a Jew inside of this world. All of this is just for the simple reason that He wants this Jew to do Torah and mitzvahs in this world. The entire creation, its basis is that there should be a Jew doing mitzvahs in the world. So we talk about, do you have a question? Spirit brings ruach and draws down ruach. So the idea is that the creation itself is not Hashem's innermost will. Because the creation itself, actually, as we just got through saying a second ago, conceals God. Everything in the world which is created by God doesn't show God. So His innermost will is that He should not only have a creation, but also be seen in the creation. So how do you do that? You Torah and mitzvahs. A Jew has to perform Torah and mitzvahs. So that's His innermost will. But He can't do it, so to speak, unless we do Torah and mitzvahs. Right? Unless we put ourselves into the game. That's what it means when we perform all of a sudden a mitzvah or learn Torah, then Hashem's innermost will all of a sudden finds expression inside of His world. Before that it was expressionless. He was like waiting there that He had a desire, but His desire is not fulfilled. When we fulfill it, we bring Hashem's desire to completion. So this is what it means to, so to speak, feed God. Just like eating. What happens when you eat? You connect your soul to your body. Or if you don't eat, don't try it at home. After several days, your soul will leave your body. Simple as that. The connection of the soul to the body requires food. And when you feed, then the spirit remains connected to the flesh. And if you eat, properly and the right things, then it brings your soul into your body in a way of like good expansion, that it brings your powers of your soul to fruition. You have proper eyesight and you have proper mind power. In other words, it's the eating basically, which connects your soul and enables the powers of your soul to shine through your body. So too, kibiyachol, Yisrael mefarnesin la'avim shebeshamayim. That's what it means. We feed God. Al yedei Torah mitzvahs. In other words, Haroah v'Shoshanim is by us learning Torah, which is called Shoshone b'halachas, we become the shepherd. Why? Because we enable God's innermost will to connect to the flesh, to the physicality of this world. We basically, Torah is like the food, basically, right? And when we learn Torah, it's the channel which enables Hashem, so to speak, the way He set up the game, that His innermost will, His revelation, like His soul, His godly light, decides to come down, has place to come down, the ability to come down and connect to this world and reveal His innermost will and godly revelation inside of the physical world. Just like our soul connects to our body through food, God connects to the world through Torah and mitzvahs. Therefore, we're the ones who are performing them. We're like feeding God. That's why it says in all places that the karbanos is called lachmi le'ishai. It's called my bread for my fires. The karbanos is like we're feeding God bread. Hashem says this is called my bread on my fire for my fires. Why is it called Hashem's bread? Because the whole notion of the karbanos is like the single thing called avodas Hashem in the world. That before we had a temple and we had the central point of Jewish expression of God was serving Him in the temple, was bringing these karbanos. That was the idea of bringing the innermost will of God down in the world and feeding Him, so to speak, to connect Him to the body of the world. So it was called food. And that's what it means, Ruach, I see Ruach, Ba'amshich Ruach. That basically our spirit towards God, of like coming to Him with Torah mitzvahs, draws His spirit down to connect with us and thus connect to the world. Liyoshora misgal b'chinas ha'ara, in order to be indwelling and reveal this level of the shine of the Ratzon ha'elyon, of the higher innermost will of Hashem, ba'aras panim, with a way where He's like showing His countenance, which means that He's revealed. Al yedei, how do you do it? Osios HaTorah, by learning Torah, reciting Torah, Torah shebiksav, Torah shebal peh, right? It's not a futile exercise to come and sit in the base medrash, right? The whole notion of a Jew just picking up a sefer and learning Torah, it's like you could learn anything. Also, this is a wisdom, that's a wisdom. It's a completely different thing. These words and these letters bring the revelation of God to fruition and give it a vessel in this world. You could sit and learn Torah all day. You'd be doing the greatest thing you'd ever did in your life. Gam al-yedei mitzvahs ha-tzedakah, and mitzvahs. And in general, tzedakah is called sort of like the mitzvah in general. In the whole Talmud Yerushalmi, the word for mitzvah is just tzedakah. They're synonymous. And the idea of tzedakah is midas ha-chesed, shu chitzonius v'klil b'chinas ha'or ba'ava. So chesed, right, is the vessel through which love can express itself. Right? A person has love, you want to show your love, you do chesed. So the vessel which holds love is chesed, right? Giving, tzedakah, kindness. So it's also a vessel for the godly light. Like we just said, Torah, the letters of Torah is a vessel which can hold the love of God in this world. So too, chesed and tzedakah is an external vessel whose job it is to hold love. And love is the panemius of the expression of the kindness, right? Inside of any expression is an inner love which can only be seen if you do the act. As it says, Ki v'or penecha nasata lanu toras chaim b'avas chesed. And we actually mention this whole concept, the whole Maimer comes down to this one line as he ends it. And we say this at the end of davening every 3 times a day. Ki v'or penecha, because the light of your face, which means like the light of the countenance of God, the innermost will of God, Hashem says, Nasata lanu, you gave us, or we're saying actually, you gave us Toras Chaim Ba'avas Chesed. If you want the Or Panecha, the innermost light of God, Hashem gave us Toras Chaim Ba'avas Chesed, 2 vessels for this. The vessel of the Torah and the vessel of Chesed, of Tzedakah, Perish, what does it mean? Ki L'or Panei Avaya, for the light of the countenance of God, which is the Bechinas ha'or, right? This level of the light of the godly soul. Yesh shnei kelim. There's 2 vessels, Torah v'Chesed, as we just described. So this is basically You know, the whole thing is we're trying to go and find God in Chodesh Elul. Just to like summarize that, like, what do you do with all this? This is like the kind of the inspiration. You realize God, the King is in the field. What can I do? The way to attach yourself to Elul and the whole notion of like is to throw yourself into Torah and mitzvahs. Just simply, like every time you find yourself not doing Torah and mitzvahs, go do them. Because you have the inspiration, but you want to maintain it so it doesn't leave you. You need vessels and vessels and vessels and more vessels. And basically you just sit, this is a plug for our yeshiva, stepping up a whole nother level in the Chodesh Elul. Throw yourself into the Seder, throw yourself into, because otherwise it doesn't stay. It just is fleeting. Alright, Hashem should help, it shouldn't be fleeting. Alright, so what we're going to do now is, you can stop it.